Hope everyone's having a great night. Got the week getting off to a good start. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so before we get started today, we're going to begin with a quick prayer. So, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Thanks, God, for giving me life and talents for my participation in sports. Help me to play well, to use my powers to the fullest, to see them as gifts from you. Be with me when I need to play hurt, when I have to deal with the pain of injury, disappointment, or loss. Keep me aware of my brotherhood and sisterhood I have with all athletes, even when they are opponents. Free me from the temptation to fake, to foul, or to cheat. I need to see that dedication to the cause will mean suffering, but let me know that it is the kind of suffering that leads to new life and greater maturity. Help me to play with heart and never lose heart. Most of all, help me never to quit in my efforts to be open to you, for I believe your full coming into my life is the way to real life in all I do. I believe it is the way of my becoming the truly human person you destined me to be. In the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Vinny Girardi. I am the Associate Director of Admission and Athletics here at Villanova Prep. And I want to thank you all for joining us this evening as we talk about one of the treasured aspects of a high school experience, athletics. So here at Villanova, we are tasked to challenge our students spiritually, mentally, and physically. And with that challenge, we strive to provide our student athletes with a phenomenal experience. With our outstanding coaches, our great facilities, and opportunities to learn lessons that can only be learned outside of the classroom. We hope that you will find this to be a great introduction to our athletic program. Over the course of the night, if there are questions that come up, please type them into the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, and we will look to get those answered over the course of tonight. I'm honored to be joined by three members of our Wildcat community. Tim Settem is our Director of Athletics and Aquatics. Lauren Griffin is our head coach of our girls volleyball team. And Kate Miller is a junior at Villanova and a member of the girls water polo team and swim team. Welcome, everybody. Coach Settem,
thanks for having us.
Why don't you please start us off?
Well, my name is Tim Settem. I'm the Director of Athletics. And as Vinny said, I also coach the water polo and swim teams for both our boys and girls. I also full-time teach our health and fitness course over at the school. So doing pretty excited to be here. Let me introduce Lauren Griffith, our girls volleyball coach.
Hi there, my name is Lauren Griffin. I grew up in Ventura. Volleyball has always been a part of my life. It was basically my foundation growing up. I went to high school, had accepted a scholarship to volleyball in Portland, Oregon, and I have coached for over 8 years, and I took a break to have my children, and I can't be more thrilled to be back and be coaching at Villanova. So I'm very excited to take on this responsibility, and it's just going to be great from here on out. I will be honored to introduce Kate Miller, one of our talented student athletes.
Hi, my name is Kate. I'm a junior and I play for the girls water polo and I'm on the swim team. And this year I'm our new commissioner of athletics as well.
All right, welcome everybody. Okay, so first question for Coach Settem. What kind of advice would you give to an athlete, a young athlete that wants to play sports at the high school level?
Wow, that can be pretty extensive. If we think about it, I mean, really, I could go on for hours about that one. But the reality is someone, what you're looking for is someone who wants to commit, someone who wants to come in and really look to compete and look beyond themselves, if that makes sense. You want to be a part of something. You want to be a part of a community, part of an extended family, so to speak. That's something we preach a lot with our swim and water polo teams. Is we're really about extended family. Being a part of an athletic program here at Villanova, it's really being a part of an extended community. And you're representing not only yourself but your coaches, your teammates, and just the entire community and everything that we stand for. Again, I can't stress enough, it's really wanting to be something more than yourself and try to challenge yourself both academically and physically to improve, you know, in everything that you do. And it goes well beyond just the athletic field. It goes into everything you do pretty much for the rest of your life. And I think each of our coaches and our athletes can say that, especially those who've graduated. So that's in a roundabout way and short worded what I would say.
Well, it's a great way to start us off for sure. Coach Griffin, same question to you. What advice would you have for young athletes?
I can't reiterate enough what Coach Settem just said. I would say commit yourself 100%. If you don't do it, you might regret it. Sports, they teach you so many things that you can use in your future. Responsibility, commitment, discipline, how to work with others. And you're going to need that in college, not only high school, college, professional work, relationships. You're going to need it the rest of your life. So it's only going to better you for the future, while at the same time making great friends, great memories, and long-time relationships.
Awesome. All right, Kate, same question. What advice would you give to young athletes who are just kind of getting started, you know, maybe 8th or 7th graders who are just peeking ahead of what opportunities there are for them?
I'd probably say joining sports is one of the most important things you could do in high school. At least for me, it was. Just because you can meet so many people that really do become your next family. And there's times in your life when your family won't be there, and they'll always be there, whether it's practice or just being at school. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, so a follow-up question for that. You know, obviously, this is your 3rd year at Villanova as a student athlete. How have you been able to balance being a good student and an athlete as well? And has that allowed you to grow as a leader? Uh-oh. We might be having some technical difficulties here. That's all right.
I got frozen.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, we'll come back to it if she's able to rejoin us. So, Coach Griffin, this question's for you. We had a couple families write in ahead of time. So one of the questions was, my daughter's interested in playing volleyball. Do the girls get to play no matter what their ability is? What's your policy on that, Coach?
Playing time is important. It's important to the players, the families, the fans. It's important to me. It's important to every teammate. And I would say that the opportunity is always equal. Everyone's going to be given an opportunity to do well and work hard and learn the same foundation and same skills. Playing time might not be perfectly equal because we want to do what's best for our school and our team and everyone as a whole, but definitely the opportunities would be equal.
Gotcha. Okay. And Coach Settem, could you expand on that for the rest of our sports?
Oh, absolutely. And so, and just to reiterate, it's really about opportunity. And so each student that comes in who has the desire to play and really desire to compete has that opportunity to join our teams and challenge themselves to put themselves in the position where they are competing and are earning more time. Now, obviously, we want to win. We want to do the best we can to compete at the highest level. And in the course of doing so, we're going to put the best players on the floor, in the pool, on the field. But each of those student athletes has an opportunity in practice time, in their day-to-day, in every instance occurring with their teammates and with their coaches, where they're going to have the ability to prove themselves and prove their time. And given the opportunity to really shine in practice is going to allow them to shine in games as well. And so each of our coaches has that same philosophy, is we're going to give everyone the opportunity as long as they earn it. And it really comes down to earning it each and every day. And I think most of our kids that come out really do.
Gotcha. All right, so this next question was for Kate, but I think you might be able to answer as well, Coach. So can you talk about what's a typical day for a student athlete in the middle of the season?
Is that for me or is that for Coach?
Coach Settem, why don't you answer that for us?
Oh gosh. So in the middle of the season?
Yeah, like in the middle of the season when games are being played, meets are being held, what's it like for a student athlete?
So a typical day for our student, and I'll break it down into a couple days, a non-competition day and then a competition day. In a non-competition day during the week, we could have two trainings. So for us, particular in water polo and swim, we train in the morning, and then the kids get ready, go to school, have breakfast together, go to school. They'll have their anywhere from 4 to 6 classes, depending on the day and how that goes. Each day is each day is a rotation. And so they're mentally challenged each and every day. And then we'll meet again at the end of school and have an evening training for another 2 hours, depending on what our day looks like. If it's pregame, it may only be an hour and a half, probably only in the afternoons. But we tend to try to train through everything leading up to our CIF and league championship type days. Gotcha. On a game day, we won't train in the morning. Obviously, they'll all go to classes and have lunch together. I think that's a big thing. You'll see that with a lot of the teams on campus. The kids will absolutely eat together on a game day and get themselves kind of mentally ready. Just enjoy each other's company. We generally depending on the sport, miss the last class of the day to travel or prepare and get ready for our home game. Do all the setup and then compete. It's all about competing at the end of the day.
For sure.
Everyone enjoys it. So
it looks like Kate has resolved the technical issues. So Kate, I'm gonna bring you back in here. I just had Coach Settem kind of give a perspective of what a typical day is in the middle of the season. But I guess from your perspective, obviously it was different for your freshman sophomore year as you're just kind of getting used to high school life and becoming a student athlete at a high level. How have you kind of adapted over the course of your 3 years now of your career, to the point where, I guess, what's your routine on a game day?
It kind of varies, but there's always, in the mornings, you always go and you always kind of are so we have morning announcements and it's usually in the grotto. And most of the time you'll be with one teammate or two teammates, and you'll kind of just talk about whether it's sports or just general life. And I don't know, that's always kind of got me excited because I know my teammates have my back, whether it's in the water or just out of the water. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome back.
Sorry.
Coach Griffin, question for you. How do you go about keeping your athletes in shape during the season? Obviously, this is a wacky year. So in a normal year, I should say, how do you make sure the student athletes aren't necessarily burnt out? And do you have a nutritional plan for your student athletes?
I don't have a strict conditioning plan. However, I do like to incorporate it in our drills. So they are going to be in shape and not exhausted during a game, because sometimes when rallies happen, it's the most exhausting experience because it just goes on and on for what seems like forever. But I like to incorporate those into drills because then a ball is in place as well. They're not just sprinting on the track, but they will be in shape and up to par when that time does come during competition. And so I kind of like to blend the two because it's just more enjoyable for them and it's more practical for what we do on the court. Nutrition wise, it's not something I can control and give strict requirements for that, but I definitely would influence their nutrition habits. I know just from personal experience playing and in my current life right now, you feel so much better and you perform so much better with a good nutritional plan going on. So that would definitely be influenced, but not required.
For sure. Okay. Coach Settem, same question to you. How do you keep your athletes in shape during the season? And do you have any nutritional plans for your swimmers?
Well, I think Kate can answer that one. But in terms of, what we do, we try to stay really consistent. So our strength and our endurance and speed and everything that goes into our games, we have an intense hour game. And a lot of times it takes 2 and 3 hours of preparation to prepare to give your best for that full hour. And so we're constantly going, and we start kind of moderately like we're doing now, and then build up throughout the season to where we're putting out a great effort. It's continual work and a mix of hard training with skills and distance and endurance and sprinting and just a ton of different stuff that goes in. And then we do as much gameplay and game situational stuff as we can. So that way, when we get in the heat of the moment, everything's preparation. We want the fitness level to be so high that in those moments of stress or whatever, you're not worried about taking a breath, you're worried about the play and you understand what's going on. And so that's why our fitness level is so important. In terms of nutrition, I don't tell the kids what to eat. So we have so many different variances of what kids are wanting to eat, having to eat, needing to eat. You know, you have your differences of whether they're vegetarian or whether they have specific diets or illnesses or whatever it is that they need to address. And so each and every student that really comes through, they take my health class. And so we go over a nutrition plan and kind of really talk about what their expenditure is and what they really need to intake and each and every day. You know, we always preach tons of water and making sure they're eating really balanced meals throughout the day, and they got to find that protein. But more so, it's about your caloric expenditure. And so that way, you know, for someone who's like Kate, who works her tail end off, she's got to take in the food to be able to fuel that body for the entirety of the match or the entirety of practice, and be able to come back the next day and do the same thing. So it's really about preaching how much they're eating and making sure they're eating healthy foods and making great choices, as opposed to saying you need to eat this and this, and be very, very specific. I don't believe that. I mean, as we grew up, I know I did, and this was a long time ago, you know, we kind of ate whatever we want, and I was just an endless pit and just ate everything in front of me. But now I try to make better choices. So I try to encourage the same thing.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thanks for that, coaches. Another follow-up for your coach, Settem. What grades do you expect out of our student athletes? Is there a minimum GPA for Villanova student athletes?
Well, I mean, we all have high expectations. So I look at my student athletes, and I would hope we're at least a minimum of 3.0. You know, we're a high achieving school, so it's an expectation and a hold to a standard, and we want to help and guide them through that. Now, the average everyday student, you know, it could be a 2.0, so where they're getting in and they're eligible to play. But I think our minimum standard, and I don't necessarily express this 100%, but I make sure that I communicate with each of my own athletes and really help them through and guide them through and make them understand that, you know, C's and D's aren't necessarily going to get us where we want to be, where A's and B's are going to be something that where you're going to be able to go on to college and do great things outside and past high school. There's no exact set standard. It's not expressed that I say I expect a 3.5. It's where are we at, what classes you taking, I understand your load, and let's do the best we can, and how can I help? That's really what we're about. And I think each and all of our coaches are in the same boat.
Gotcha. Coach Griffin, can you talk about what an off-season training would look like for a volleyball player? Do you encourage them to play another sport, or do you have like a training process throughout the year?
That I do provide a plan for. Summer is very important if you are only a volleyball athlete. Of course, it's optional, but I'm going to give them material to better themselves. I mean, the more you prepare, the easier it's going to be for all your future. You're just going to be in better shape. You're going to be able to handle those exhausting times when they do come up next season. You're not going to be struggling with everybody else when conditioning does come, and you're only going to better your team too. So I am a big believer in off-season training and maintaining that level. As for playing multiple sports, I can't support it enough. It's all the things I already mentioned that you gain from being an athlete. You're only going to gain more if you do have multiple sports in your life, and I think that's very important. It's only going to open more doors and more opportunities for you when it's time to go to college and for recruiting. I just think that's excellent if you are a athlete of different teams. Definitely important.
Awesome. All right, Coach Settem, same question for you. How do you go about off-season training? And same thing, are we encouraging everybody to try something new, try a different sport?
I do. In terms of, at least between our water polos and swimmers, a lot of them do both. A lot of them, that's kind of their plan. And so you'll see some that will play basketball, or someone will play, a lot of the girls will play volleyball, or used to anyway. We have a few that kind of that crossover now. Most of my polo players swim. I do have guys who play soccer, who play basketball, who play baseball or tennis for that matter. And so I like to see a diversity. I think it really creates that opportunity to spread yourself and grow, and really grow. I think that's a big thing, is to experience new things and explore your athleticism. In terms of off-season training, I know Kate can speak to that, is that a lot of the times we give the opportunity that when they're not in season to be able to get into the pool. So that may be coming in and training at the same time as, for her, as the guys are in the fall, and then just being able to get in and be able to continue to keep swimming and doing those things, having that ability to come to morning workouts, stay in the weight room and do those things. In summers, we offer 3 to 4 days during the week. We'll try and get into local tournaments that'll enable them. But I also encourage them to go play club. I think it's an opportunity for them to grow and hear another voice. So that's a big one. As much as my voice booms and I talk a lot, and it'll be one of those things where I want them to hear a different voice. They'll probably hear the same message, they'll just hear it in a different way. And so I think that's something that's really important. So to be able to explore different sports, but to hear different coaches hopefully have the same message. And really that's what I encourage.
Gotcha. All right, Kate, this next question's for you. Certainly Coach Settem touched upon it, the aspect of, this is a college preparatory school. So certainly we expect a different standard of grades in our athletics program as well. Can you just talk about, the support you have amongst the teachers and some of our counseling to really kind of keep you on track?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how supportive they are, actually. So basically there's a lot of times where I'll have a missing assignment, or I'll have a test that I'm going to miss because of a game or a practice or something like that. And they're always there, whether they have to stay late and be home late to cook dinner for the family or whatever. They'll always stay for you and make sure that you are able to complete it, and make sure that you're staying on course so that you can enjoy sports and be able to maintain your grades as well.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we'll come up to the last couple of questions here. Coach Settem, can you talk about some of the fees that might be associated with playing a sport at Villanova?
So a lot of those depend on each sport is individual in terms of what their expectations are, in terms of what their needs are. I can speak to water polo and swim, where each student buys their own uniforms, essentially. I mean, every swimsuit, we give them caps, and we provide certain opportunities and have all of our equipment, but they'll get their travel gear, they'll get a t-shirt, they'll get their swimsuits, and those are things that they're going to buy through a website or through something that we'll get. I know basketball already provides their uniforms, but maybe they'll buy their own practice gear. So the fees will be differing between each sport and depending on what they're going to need. I know volleyball, generally they buy their own uniforms, so they get them personalized and whatnot. And and their practice gear and things like that. Baseball, I think they'll buy some of their necessary gear, their hats and their socks and things of that nature, but uniforms are generally provided. So it varies across the board. So the fees can be very, very minimal to non-existent to, you know, a couple $100, depending on the sport and how much they either want. And a lot of the times there's a lot of choice involved. And so there's some minimums and there's some standards, and then there's extras, and families usually like to get extras too. So parents have spirit wear too.
For sure. You gotta outfit the family. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So again, I want to thank everybody for their time tonight. Just have one final question for everybody. I'm going to have Coach Griffin go first, but if I'm a young student athlete, why would I want to go to Villanova, or why should I want to go to Villanova?
I would say the community and the atmosphere. You're going to get the support you need and the support you should expect. It's like a little family. I'm just loving spending time with my girls, and that's the way it should be. Everyone's there for each other. It's just open communication, and we support each other, and that's what's important.
Awesome. All right, Coach Settem, same question.
Well, I think Lauren hit it on the head with the family and community. Really, I think it's to go to Villanova, you're going to get a couple things. You're going to get the academic support. You're going to get the academic rigor that's going to bolster your ability to do things beyond high school and go into college and things beyond that. And the athletic realm, you're going to get so much more than just the idea of competition. You're going to get a sense of family. You're going to get those things that Lauren and I both touched on in terms of things that are going to build you for the rest of your life. You're going to have that respect. You're going to have that determination. You're going to have that wherewithal that goes along with all the rigor that's involved between sports and academics. You're going to learn how to balance everything. And above all, it's about family, I think.
Awesome. All right, Kate, you're the last one. What's why would a student athlete want to come to Villanova?
Yeah, I think I have pretty similar answers. The only other thing I would say is the campus is pretty amazing. You can see the sunset over the mountains from our pool while we're practicing, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I would have to say family, because it really is. It's cliche, but it is.
All right. Well, wonderful. I just want to thank all of our panelists for their time tonight. Thank you, Kate. Thank you for hanging in there, Coach Griffin and Coach Settem. I did want to let everyone know about a few upcoming events we're going to be having from the admissions department. We will be hosting an open house on Thursday, November 12th at 4 p.m. And our next Wildcat Spotlight series will be focused on the college counseling department. So that will take place on November 16th at 5 p.m. You can register for those events at villanovaprep.org/visit. All right. Thank you all so much for your time, and have a wonderful night.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.